Coach, I don't know if you saw this. I'm sure you did see this yesterday, but football, volleyball, women's soccer, all ranked. One of only 3 schools in the nation to have that honor right now. I mean, we've talked about, ad nauseum how you said it after the game, deserve to be Power 5, but how much more do you think that speaks to it, not just for your program, but for the other 2 programs in active competition as well against other teams?
Well, I'm really proud of. I just documenting really the last year of Cougar athletics, and it just shows this year again, for us, volleyball, soccer, obviously off to tremendous starts in the fall. What Cammie and Kyle did in obviously winning the Pac-12 championship, and what that team is going to be like coming back this year is going to be amazing to watch. So I think it's going to be one of the best years. I don't know the history of Cougar athletics, but I think it'll be one of the best years as a program, identity-wise, top to bottom, and I think that's fun to see for all Cougs.
Jaden Hicks, the Bednarik Player of the Week. Not that he needed that award, because I think you've seen through 2 weeks, I don't know if there's been a better defensive player in college football. From your perspective, I mean, this guy going from freshman to getting in last year, making an impact, and now to being this good. I mean, I know you've talked about kind of his rise, but just could you have foreseen him being this good this quickly?
Yes. This year, I think we knew what we had in Jaden and how hard he's worked. 2 years ago, probably not. I'd be lying, but I think we knew we always had a good player. But he's focused, dedicated, and disciplined to his craft, and his athleticism at that size is off the charts. He's an amazing tackler in space. I just think he is the complete package, and he's continually getting better. Right, so that's what's fun as a coach. I mean, he's not satisfied. He understands the awards and the praise, and those things are earned. But he's out here working every day to try to keep getting better and better, and that's awesome.
I think with how well he's played, it maybe has overshadowed a little bit how good Sammy's been. By my count, no missed tackles so far, upwards of 15 to 18 tackles. How much has he solidified that free safety spot?
Well, I would say if I maybe had to pick a most improved player last year to this year, the guys that are really out there playing, I might pick Sam Lockett. I really mean that. And we've seen it through fall camp, and I know we weren't talking about it a ton. Our new strength guys came in and they kind of fixed him a little bit structurally, and now he just feels healthier, quicker, he twitches faster, he's more confident. But it speaks to longevity in a system. And I've seen that year 1 to year 2 jump. A lot of times, as you go through the normal, it's freshman to sophomore. But I think the same thing when you get a JC guy in. When you go from year 1 to year 2, now you get that second spring ball, that second fall camp. They're just so much more comfortable after you throw them in the fire, and I think that's what you're seeing. And it speaks again to the volume about being consistently in a program and in a system and how these guys can develop.
Who are you kind of counting on to step up into a bigger role now with Quinn out, obviously RJ and BJ, but of some of the other guys you have in that room, who are you kind of looking towards to taking on a bit of onus without Quinn?
Well, I think Eddie, even through the first 2 games, has quietly played really, really well, and I don't think he gets enough credit for the type of player he is and what he does. Ram, we're looking for Ram to continually take that next step now, and that'll be another great week for him. And Isaac Terrell, you'll see him out there this week. So we're gonna let him roll, see where he can be, see where he can compete with those other 2 guys, and the best one of those guys will be that 3rd guy. So it'll be a fun week to get a chance to see Bobby out there.
I'm curious about Brennan. We talked to RJ yesterday, and he was laughing about how when Brennan first got to campus, he was wearing these fake glasses, and now he's kind of embarrassed about that in hindsight. To me, though, Brennan just seems like a guy that's he finds it easy to kind of laugh at himself. He's like someone that's kind of comfortable in his own skin.
Yeah.
Is that the way he seems to you, or where does that come from, do you think, for him?
Well, I think everyone talks about how different maybe RJ and BJ are personality-wise, but BJ he's looser and fun and can really handle his own in a social setting just as much as anybody else. Now, when they're on the field, he really is locked in, laser focused, and I think that's what everybody sees, how serious he is to his craft. But off the field, I think both of them really know who they are. They're comfortable in that, and who you see in front of the camera is the guy that we get a chance to see every day.
Did you know those were fake? Or I guess you weren't.
I wasn't here.
I
wasn't here when he was that young. I wasn't here when he was that young. Yeah, he's also put on 60 pounds since then too, so he's changed himself quite a bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, outside of the physical gains and whatnot, how have you seen him grow and develop just as a guy over the last few years?
Well, I would say to your original point, he probably came in just a little unsure, and he's got an opportunity just to build himself through a bunch of hard work and dedication, and through a lot of failures. We learn a lot about ourselves through failures and a lot of coaching changes they've been through, but I just see him keep accelerating. Those 2 have just been phenomenal.
Lastly, I'm curious about your experience seeing Clay at the game the other day. Are you much of I'm sure you understand his meaning to Wazoo,
Oh, yeah.
but are you much an NBA fan, or what was it like seeing him?
I love NBA. I'm a Milwaukee Bucks guy. I'm a big Greek freak guy. We got to get that championship back. That was a pretty big honor. But what Klay Thompson, has done for Washington State, for his career, and to come back like that is huge in that moment. And he doesn't do it just for himself. He does it for Cougs. And to wave that banner and that flag, I thought was pretty special.
And, Coach, we've talked a lot about the running game, but I'm just wondering those last few runs, especially for Nakia, who Cam kind of just talked about not quite having his day, when he gets those last couple of first down runs, that kind of game-sealing touchdown run, the confidence that instills in him going forward and in you, in him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we took from those last 3 minutes. We can run the ball. We can. We got to be dedicated to doing it, and we got to do it in a physical way. And Nakia is that physical presence, and he just has to play that way, and I think we'll go out there and show it this week that we've emphasized it, and we got to be better at it. But, yeah, it gives you confidence. Hey, we can do it. Wisconsin knew we had to run. We went out there and ran it 6 times for 2 first downs. So I think that's important, and we got to build off that. We really do, because we got to be convicted in running the ball.
And then the cornerback spot opposite of Shaw, obviously. We saw some big plays from Cam and from Javen. I'm just wondering, we also saw Stephen Hall kind of rotate in there. Just your confidence in that spot and what you've kind of seen from that rotation of guys.
Well, another guy, I think Cam Lampkin speaks to the Sam Lockett thing. He's a certain way in year 1. Now he's in year 2 of his system and understanding how we do it in our mentality and culture, and he's thriving. Stephen Hall is going through kind of that first time. Javen, year 2. I just think it's a really competitive room, and they know, you better not get hurt because I'm going to be out there and I'm not giving you your job back. And I think that's good, healthy competition, and that's what they have. And Steven's been waiting his turn. He's been working his tail off. Javen went down a little bit in that third quarter. He came in and performed, and we got to keep building up our depth because we're not going to make it through a Pac-12 schedule just playing 22 guys. Right, so excited about what that room does and how they compete with each other.
You said last week Moku and Rashad back this week. That's still the case, or a little bit longer?
Rashad for sure, and Moku got the boot off today, and we're starting to work some land progression stuff, so he'll be questionable, but we're really hoping for the Oregon State game for Moku.
And Rashad this week, though, for sure?
Rashad this week for sure.
And anything else on injury-wise besides obviously Quinn and Lawrence?
No, Quinn right now, and then we're kind of just working through Essa and Javen and seeing where they will end up for the game, and we're working through some things.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys, go Cougs.